Hello, hello, hello. Welcome on in. Grab a seat, grab a tea, get extra comfy feet. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Yuki Boobuki, princess of all things spooky and ooky, but the only thing scary about me is how little I actually know about TouHou, and we are going to fix that. So, TouHou has actually been recommended to me for a while. A lot of people have been asking. They're like, Yuki, you are literally the Shrine Maiden from TouHou. You belong there. It's your universe. It's your everything. Cute girls, lore, drama, all of it. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin. So it is now your job. That's right. Your job to teach me, to recommend things to me, to make me the world's biggest TouHou fan. I'm leaving that on you. Today we are going to be watching a beginner guide to TouHou lore that was sent to me by a viewer in the Discord. If you would like to yap at me, send me things, and request that I watch things, join the Discord, and I will probably do it. There's like a 99.9% chance. All of the Warhammer videos have been viewer suggested. The TouHou video is viewer suggested. I'm not really sure. I'm viewer suggested. You know, there's loops, there's patterns, there's patterns, there's loops and patterns. Things that Yuki knows about TouHou. It's a bullet hell. And then there's one game where you manage a cafe, and I want to play that one. I also saw Manly, the YouTuber, play one horror game about it, and it's on my Steam wish list. So yeah. Also, I'm saying all the keywords to poke your ears. Project Moon. I was recommended Lobotomy Corporation. And I mean, I feel like I've had a lobotomy, so why not? Absolute fun, absolute vibes, absolute jams. You guys definitely heard my phone go off. Because we ordered stuff for Mom's Day. Mom's Day. Mom's Day. All right. Grab a seat, grab a tea, get extra, extremely comfy. God bless you guys and thank you for being here. Welcome to the Yuki Boobuki. Steps into TouHou. Let's get this bread.
Between games, literature, music, and even animation that has steadily been released over the past few decades, the TouHou project is, without a doubt,
look, that's me.
Absolutely massive. So it's understandable for people just getting their foot in the door to see that giant mass of content with little context, and backing off from the sheer time commitment needed to see if you would even enjoy it.
I ain't scared.
But when someone does jump in, the overwhelming presence of the flashy, exciting fan content leaves the comparatively humble official works in its shadow, untouched by the majority of fans.
I like the
And while
TouHou
the
now.
works might not appeal to everyone, I think it's worth listing them all out for those that might be overwhelmed. This is my beginner's guide to everything canon. So here's the big question. What is canon? The TouHou canon is any official work that ZUN himself has made or gave explicit oversight in regards to its content. Likewise, anything he says in interviews or comments about the series can be considered fact. Everything else is not canon. This includes fan anime like Memories of Phantasm, mobile games like Lost Word, and even the plethora of fan games that have found their way on Steam or home consoles. And while these things are not considered canon, I do want to emphasize that
So everything that I actually know about TouHou, not canon. And I was asked to download TouHou Lost World on my mobile device. Also in the Discord. Honestly, if you're just not in the Discord, you're missing out on some quality Yuki time. All right. So everything that I know about TouHou, not canon.
there is nothing wrong with liking them. I simply wish to distinguish what is official versus fan work. I'll be listing out all the official works, their components, and a very brief overview of what to expect from them. I wish to avoid spoiling content to allow people to experience it for themselves. Also, while I cannot completely future-proof this video, I will mention an up-to-date list of all official TouHou works can always be found on the main page of the TouHou Wiki, which supports more than a dozen languages. I've left a link in the description.
Wiki!
Now, of course, we have to start with the games, which is where everything began. The majority of these are shoot-'em-ups, which can be fairly difficult if you've never played one before. Besides those, there are several official fighting games and a side-scrolling action game. Most of these have several different routes and endings with a mostly ambiguous canon route. However, you can consider any and all information given in each of them as canon. Aside from what is present in the actual games, many of these have written prologues and occasionally an omake or an extra with some supplementary information. These are all considered canon. While you can play through the games to experience most of the content, if perhaps the games are too difficult, the wiki has the game dialogue, prologues, and extra content all translated with the original Japanese text side by side for comparison for every game. While I would encourage everyone to try the games for themselves, I would also say not to feel too discouraged if they don't appeal to you or simply are too hard. There's plenty more to the series than the game.
As a trophy hunter and someone who does hardcore game activities without necessarily doing hardcore games, minus my 100% of Elden Ring, because I talk the way that I talk, or I do the things that I do, like I'm going through and trying to 100% as many of the Final Fantasy games as I can. Of course, everyone is like, Yuki, you're such a skilled and cool gamer. You would be so good at this. Of which I would say, nar. But if this video does good, if I bring in the TouHou fans, okay, I'm praying the energy into the air, and this video gets like 50 likes, I will play the bullet hell one. I found one on the Compoop Poop that seems to be a very popular one. I did a little bit of research before the video, trying to figure out what do people like about TouHou, who's the favorite characters. You know, well, I already knew Bad Apple because like I'm a Hatsune Miku fan, right? I mean, you can tell by my hair, you know, the pigtails dream. Listen, and the fact that I'm also much like a Hatsune Miku in the amount of outfits I've obtained. Every model is a dream. But I'm not good at bullet hells. Please set your expectations lower. But I have some TouHou games. I'm looking at some TouHou games. I have some dreams. I have some hopes. I want to get into the lore. It will be so fun. It'll be so awesome. It'll be so cool.
Games. I would personally recommend starting with either TouHou 6 for having the most recognizable characters for someone absolutely new to the series, one of the fighting
which was the one
games
recommended to me,
or TouHou 14 for a decently simple modern experience. You can start with TouHou 1 and work your way up like I did, but I would like to preface that the series had a soft reboot after TouHou 5, and thus most of the characters in the games don't appear again. I would personally recommend going back to them after going through some of the other examples. Next we have ZUN's music collection. Now you may be wondering what music has to do with canon. Well, alongside these albums that ZUN releases, there are short stories that have a loosely connected narrative featuring two college students in the real world. Translations of these stories can likewise be found in the previously mentioned
I gotta
wiki.
do a video
The
reading the
remaining
wiki.
canon content is all in written form. The first set of these is a series known as TouHou Bogetsusho, which is comprised of 2 manga series and a novella counterpart. These works form an interconnected storyline involving both Gensokyo and the Lunarians on the moon. It should be noted, however, that one of these manga series, Inaba of the Earth and Inaba of the Moon, is considered official, but the events are not considered canon as ZUN was only loosely involved in its creation. The other 2 works, however, are both canon. These are Silent Sinner in Blue and Cage and the Lunatic Runegate. If you are interested in these, I would recommend reading them together. TouHou Sangetsusei is a manga series currently comprised of 4 separate parts: Eastern and Little Nature Deity, Strange and Bright Deity, Oriental Sacred Place, and Visionary Fairies and Shrine. All of these follow the adventures of a group of fairies within Gensokyo. While there is some space for a narrative, most of the series is episodic and focuses more on the world building using the fairies as a vehicle to explore Gensokyo. Curiosities of Lotus Asia is an ongoing series of side stories that focuses on a man named Ryunosuke, the owner of a curio shop within Gensokyo. Characters from the other official works often appear as customers each chapter. Readers are able to learn a fair bit about Gensokyo through both Ryunosuke's monologues and his discussions with guests. TouHou Wild and Horned Hermit is a completed manga series that focuses on the hermit Ibaraki Kasen. Throughout the story and episodic
There's
plots,
so many cute
Kasen's
girls.
thoughts, beliefs, and role in Gensokyo at large are explored up to its conclusion. I would say that this is a decent starting point of getting into the series if you are interested in reading manga. TouHou Forbidden Scrollery is a completed manga series that focuses on a regular human girl named Motori Kosuzu who lives in the human village. While the series spends quite a bit of time on Kosuzu being a silly little gremlin, I would say that this series is important specifically because it explains the role of the human village within Gensokyo and the power dynamic between humans and yokai. I would say that if you wanted to start with a manga series, this is the one to read. The remaining manga, Lotus Eaters and Foul Detective Satori, are currently still ongoing, so I'll refrain from speaking on them. But before I get into the super lore-dense books, I'll mention a few miscellaneous
Lore
pieces.
book!
Within the TouHou fanbook Seasonal Dream Vision, there is an official short story written by Zune called A Beautiful Flower Blooming Violet Every 60 Years. I would recommend reading this after understanding the plot of TouHou 9. Likewise, the previously mentioned Eastern and Little Nature deity from TouHou Sangetsuse has additional written data and a short story titled Fairy of the Moon. There are even 2 books that talk about the spell cards of different characters. Each character has some of their spell cards analyzed and rated by other in-world characters.
Okay, so the funny thing is I said, I want to learn about TouHou. Discord goes, oh, I'm obsessed with TouHou by watching other streamers play TouHou. Have this video. The heck is a soul card? Where the heck? I will say all of the art is so cute though, so cute. It is giving a magical girl woo, and I'm living for each and every bit of it. When is Bad Apple canon? I'm just kidding.
These books are the Grimoire of Marissa and the Grimoire of Usami. The latter also has a neat little manga to give more context to it. I wouldn't consider these high priority, but they're nice little reads. Next we have the TouHou Bunka series. This is currently comprised of 2 books, Bohemian Archive in Japanese Red, and Alternative Facts in Eastern Utopia. These books both take the form of an in-universe compilation of newspaper articles, essays, and interviews done mostly by the Tengu Shame Maru Aya. Both of these are quite text-heavy, but also contain lots of interesting information about different characters in Gensokyo. While I would probably not start with either of these, if you are someone who enjoys reading, these are both a lot of fun. Bohemian Archive covers characters from TouHou 6 through 9, while Alternative Facts covers 6 through 15. I'll also mention Bohemian Archive contains a short official comic called Extra of the Wind. And finally, we have TouHou Gumon. This is currently 2 books, Perfect Memento in Strict Sense and Alternative Facts in Eastern Utopia. Perfect Memento in Strict Sense is what I would consider the most fundamental written work in the series as a whole. This work is written from the in-universe perspective of Hieda no Q and goes over different characters, races, locations, and even events from Gensokyo's history. The latter, Symposium of Post-Mysticism, is partly an extension to that, but also contains a discussion between the then newly arrived faction leaders within Gensokyo. Both are very interesting reads, with Perfect Memento being what I would consider one of the best starting points for getting into the canon. Symposium might be best to read
Honestly,
after
I want these
understanding the
books on
plot
my
of
shelf
TouHou
just because they
6
look
through
beautiful.
13. Now, I say that this is the end of the canon works, but technically that's not true. There are also many translated interviews Zune has given over the years that contain information as well. And as stated prior, anything Zune says about the series can be considered Word of God. If you happen to be looking for more content, there's also Strange Creators of Outer World, which is an official magazine that talks about the series and is described as being newbie-friendly. And that concludes our list of all canon sources. For ease of access, here's the list of all my recommended starting points. For the games in specific, I think arguments could be made for many others, but I wish to keep this video simple. Instead, I would invite some discussion for fans who have played the official games to give their opinions in the comments.
And actually, I will invite you all to do the same. I was going to start with TouHou 6 embodiment of Scarlet Devil on stream. Like I said, if this masterpiece of a video does really good, I made a community post. I'm asking around. I personally love lore. I love story. I love things that are vast. And TouHou always seems so cool and so interesting. And like I said, I have played a couple, probably what would be considered fan games. I don't know a whole lot about the characters or the universe. And this video will be kind of like testing the waters. You know, I put out a community post. I'm like, how do you guys feel about TouHou? How do you guys feel about Project Moon, Limbus Company, Lobotomy, Corporation? How do you guys feel about Warframe? I still want to keep the Warhammer going. So I'm doing kind of a little bit of a twist this week, and it sucks because I pre-recorded the videos, so I'm sure in the 2 pre-recorded Warhammer videos at some point I said you're getting back-to-back Warhammer videos, and then I'm gonna throw out like a TouHou video, and then everyone's gonna be like, where's my back-to-back Warhammer videos? Gasp, she stay lying, she eat hot chip and lie. I have decided that I wanted to go Thursdays will be Warhammer video day, Fridays will be Yuki's special interest, because I want to test the waters and see what we could do with this channel while also, one, killing my backlog, right? So I want to have like trophy time and all that stuff. So special interest and kill backlog. 2, I want to grow a community full of yaps. I want us to share special interests and talk to each other. And when they drop like a new Warhammer, I want you guys to be like, yay, new Warhammer. You know, when there's a Warframe update, you're like, yay, Warframe update. So what I want from you, dear sweet viewer, who I hope is obsessed with TouHou as I am. All right. My main forms of content, all right, I would like, it will not be perfect because I am not a perfect being by any means. My biggest goal and dream as a content creator is to become a Square Enix partnered creator. And I will slowly start working towards that. But I also see how much like Warhammer means to the community. And Warhammer means a lot to me. I got to meet so many new people. I'm learning so much. I feel the bonding. I feel the community. I feel the yappening that I yearn for in my heart and soul. All right. All I ever wanted from streaming and making content is friendship. And I do feel, listen, my hope hammer is in community. The world may be grim dark, but my community is not. Right? So, we're going to do content pillars. Warhammer, Project Moon Universe, TouHou, Square Enix, Bible. There you go. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. ASMR and anything else is getting offloaded to another spot. So, I want you in the comments below, talk to me about TouHou. What's your favorite TouHou games? What's your favorite TouHou song? You know, who's your favorite TouHou character? Which one is the biggest orange? Because I will kidnap that one and keep it. I will look into these works and see what we can do stream-wise. But yeah, please leave a like, favorite, subscribe, hit the bell. I have kidnapped all of you. I am a wizard. I have taken a 9-minute video and turned it into a 20-minute video. Honestly, baffling crazy. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please yap with the fox. And I will see you in the next video, whatever that may be. Bookie bookie boo. Bye.